Previously, on All That Glitters.
Imagine the shock I went through when I was expecting a big man out there with a rifle or something, ready to rob the whole house, and then seeing it wasn't a man at all. It was a lady.
Do you recognize this?
Where did you find that? I thought I had lost it ages ago.
Daisy Buchanan. You're under arrest for the murder of Jay Gatsby, George Wilson, and the vehicular manslaughter of Myrtle Wilson.
You arrested my daughter for a murder she had nothing to do with.
Can you tell me how you're sure Mrs. Buchanan didn't carry out the murder of Jay Gatsby and George Wilson?
Because Tom Buchanan hired me to do it.
Unfortunately, by this point in my crime journey, I had stopped believing that anything anyone said could be the whole truth. But I really, really wanted this one to be.
Detectives, that statement was made under duress, inadmissible as a confession.
Sounded a hell of a lot like a confession to me. And duress my ass. He walked in here on his own. Nobody's forcing him to confess to anything he doesn't intend to.
Shut up, Albert.
Can I ask, how you found out so quickly about your daughter's arrest? I assume you were with Mr. McKisco. But when did you arrive to New York?
Same train Daisy did. Saw y'all take her from the station, and I came straight to Albert. Find out what the hell was going on.
You followed your daughter here without her knowledge.
Daisy's a stupid girl. She's not in her right head, and she's making stupid decisions all over the place. I told Claire I wasn't going to let her out of my sight. I do for a few hours, and she goes ahead and gets herself arrested for a murder she didn't even do.
For the record, are you confessing to killing Jay Gatsby and George Wilson? We have a witness who issued
What
a
do you
statement.
think I am? Stupid? If I had shot the bastards, I certainly wouldn't be here. I said Tom hired me to kill him. I would have already done it, but by the time I got there, they were already cooked. Must have just been, too. He was laying out dead and no one found him yet.
I suppose we should back up then. Can you walk us through the events preceding September 5th that led you to West Egg and the intended murders of Jay Gatsby and George Wilson?
Tom called me a week or so before. Said he was having a problem with Daisy and he needed to call me up to take care of it. He said she was running out on him with a criminal. He needed me to make a man disappear.
Were you familiar with Mr. Gatsby?
I'd heard rumors. We all had. About the parties happening down there. But beyond that, all I knew was that he was a criminal and taking advantage of my daughter. She's stupid, you know. Don't know a thing what she's doing. Can't be held accountable for her actions.
You don't think too highly of her, that's clear.
She just needs someone to step in and show her the right way. Tom had always done that. Needed me help with this Gatsby. By all accounts, it was clear that when he was gone, no one would miss him. He was a criminal.
If he was, it would have been our job to investigate and prosecute that by process of the law. Not yours to take care of outside the law.
Some things can't be trusted to the police.
So, Mr. Buchanan called you to murder Jay Gatsby?
Just about, yeah. Came up on the train as soon as he called. He told me to wait in the city for him to call. Wouldn't have marched right down and dragged Daisy out of that gaudy mansion back to her husband where she belonged. But he told me to wait, that he was handling it, and would call me when he needed me.
We'll need you to give us the information on your hotel that you stayed at and anyone you came in contact with while staying in the city to verify that.
Well, you get what you need when you release my daughter.
For now, please continue to the events of September 5th.
So I waited. And then on the 5th, Tom called me in an absolute panic. Said it was time and the plan had changed. He needed me to take out 2 men, now. 1 or 2, he said, didn't really matter. Didn't care. Didn't matter to me if it was going to bring my daughter back to her senses. He said he was going to send the second man to Gatsby's house, that he told him, well, Tom told him that he was going to help him get revenge, and to wait inside for Gatsby's word from him. That word was me. I would drive down to West Egg to find both of them waiting in the house, take them out, and duck out back to Kentucky before anyone even noticed I wasn't on a hunting trip.
But when you got there, they were already dead.
Must have been real bad, man. Both of them. For so many people to want them dead.
Still, doesn't excuse planning a murder. And still doesn't clear your daughter of guilt.
How the hell not?
Well, you've admitted to your plan, but it was already carried out before you got there. The timeline of events Still leaves room for Daisy to have gotten there before you and killed them both.
Well, this is ridiculous. You trapped her to say something stupid. Well, I'm sure of it, but Albert...
I like a chance to speak with my clients now.
You've got it. We'll release you on bail until we consider trial day. Until then, you are free to reconcile that your whole family
We'll be in touch.
It had been a roller coaster of a day, and it was only 3 p.m. when I left the station. They had rapidly scheduled a pretrial appearance for Daisy, pushing it through the courts to get back ahead of the press, and were looking into arrest options for Tom Buchanan and William Fay as well. Tom would never admit to it, but William's confession would be enough to get him for something. It might not be much, but it is something. I wanted to stay in the city to see the trial through, so I shifted my focus back to the work I had started with Jordan Baker. We set up our photo shoot for the following Wednesday, and I was looking forward to having some murder-free conversations for a change. Her apartment was unbelievable. I didn't think about how much money a professional golfer must make, combined with the legacy of family wealth, of course, but I considered picking up some clubs when I walked into the penthouse suite that Jordan shared with her aunt. It was obvious that her aunt was too old to care much about the state of the place because there were clothes strewn over every surface. Gowns, hats, pants, jackets, leather, silk, lace. There was an entire department store thrown about the couch, chairs, and tables in the sitting area. At one end of the room was a set of bay windows with a seat stretching into the curve, and I told the Tribune photographer to start setting up over there. Partly it was because the windows overlooking New York City would be a beautiful backdrop, but partly also because it was one of the only clear spaces. He had just put his equipment bag down, and I had just finished setting my things up when Jordan came fluttering out of what I assumed was her bedroom, wearing a silk robe over a set of mismatched lacy undergarments. She pulled the robe tighter around her and started picking up clothes off the backs of chairs as she came in.
Oh, I'm positively dreadful. You must think me such a slob with everything laying around here.
Oh, it's fine, really. I've kept my place worse, I promise.
I just thought I knew what to wear, but then I looked at myself in the mirror and thought, is this what I want the future of America to see me wearing? I thought of all the little girls who might see this in the paper, and I have to dress for them, not for myself, so I had to change, and I guess I lost track of time and my whole closet.
Oh, it's not a problem at all, and I think anything you choose will be inspiring. This is all stunning.
Oh, thank you. Do you think I should go with the green or the gold?
I think the green will read better in the photograph. Gold tends to get washed out when it's developed, loses the shine.
Oh, do you think this is too much? The neck too low or the skirt too high? Does it say sports enough?
I think it's perfect. Elegant. It'll show off your figure, but isn't distracting from what's important.
What's that?
You. Just you. You're beautiful and smart. You don't have to hide behind fancy dresses to prove anything.
Oh, that's so kind of you to say. I'm sorry, I'm so flustered. I suppose I'm all turned around and out of sorts these past few days.
Is everything all right?
Well, not quite. One of my oldest friends, your Nikki's cousin, was just arrested for murder. Murder! Can you believe it? Well, Nick must have told you at least some of it. What a ride we had that summer.
He did. Yeah, he filled me in.
My sweet Daisy Fay. Wouldn't kill a fly if it landed on her nose. 3 people dead because of her. I just can't even believe it.
It was surprising news to hear. With everyone so close that summer, it's honestly amazing nobody already knew.
Well, you have to believe I had no idea. My head was so far in the clouds that whole year. But I'm still so positively surprised. My Daisy, a murderer. Do you like this pink instead? Pants would be shocking, I suppose.
Yeah. I mean, it'd make a great statement, and it will look lovely against your hair.
Marvelous. Wait right here while I go change.
Okay. We spent an hour and 3 more outfit changes, taking photos, laughing, and forgetting entirely about murder and the mystery I suppose I had helped solve. It was the most fun I had had as a reporter, and certainly the most fun I had had in New York to that point. Jordan really was stunning. She carried herself in such a distinguished and natural way, inviting you in to learn more about her without pushing too much, and asking a million questions in a way that made you feel like you were the most important person in the room. I wondered if this pull was what made Nick settle for a summer with her while his heart was being tugged towards Gatsby. Everyone involved that summer was so attractive in their own way, making you forget that there was a whole real world outside of New York. After the last photograph had been taken, the last cocktail finished for the afternoon, It was time for me to head back to that real world waiting outside the penthouse. Detective Barban had asked me to come in the morning to pull together the evidence overview to prepare for the pre-trial, so I had to make sure I had all of my notes organized and ready to go. We each picked up an armful of dresses from the furniture to return to Jordan's closet, loaded up with a rainbow of fashion, both a little tipsy and bumping into corners on the way. She flopped down on her bed and nodded towards the closet, letting the things she had carried drop to the floor and going on about letting her maid take care of it all later. But as soon as I walked fully in, I stopped hearing a single word she was saying. Her voice kept singing in the background, but my eyes lasered in on the back corner of her closet, probably hidden from view when it was full of clothes, but with almost every single piece taken out, there was a clear view right to it. Pressed against the wall was a long white coat with gold hexagonal buttons. I checked behind my shoulder to make sure she was still laying on the bed. She was, and I stepped in closer, mindlessly grabbing hangers to look as if I was starting to hang the dozen dresses that were draped over my arm. My vision blurred as I got closer, trying to focus on the buttons. 4 of them had 6 sides, but the second one down was square. It had been replaced.
I really can't stand when they hang the dresses with the long sleeves mixed in with the short sleeves, but I suppose I can't really complain when I'm not about to do it myself.
Hey, do you mind if I use your telephone quickly? I was thinking maybe we could leave and grab another drink. I've had a lot of fun today, but I want to let Nick know where I am so he's not worried about me.
Oh yes, I would love that. And tell Nikki you should come join us. I really do want to apologize to him in person. The way we left things was so horrid. Do call him.
I think he'll love that. I'll just be a moment.
Take your time and I'll ring for cocktails.
Hi, Nick? Yes, hi, it's Jennifer. Yes, I am with Jordan Baker right now, and we'd really love for you to come join us so she can tell you something important in person. 599 Summit Avenue, up in the penthouse. Yes, ring when you're here and come right up. Hurry if you can. We're having a killer time.
I watched the seconds pass, listening to Jordan, laughing when I knew I was supposed to, and trying to remember to breathe. After about 30 minutes, the door swung open and Detectives Amory and Barban stormed in.
New York police, hands in the air where I can see them. Stay seated where you are.
Oh, what's... You can't just barge into a girl's home like this.
Miss Jones.
Yes, this way.
What is this? What's going on here?
Miss Baker, we have reason to believe there's an evidence of a murder here. Please just stay seated while we investigate the claim.
You can't go in there. This is an invasion of my personal privacy.
Blaine, come see this.
Jordan Baker, you're under arrest for the murders of Jay Gatsby and George Wilson.
You can't do that. You've already arrested someone for that. It's not my fault. I'm being framed. I don't even know what you're talking about.
Save it, Miss Baker. This evidence is pretty damning. I'd advise you to get a lawyer before you say anything else.
They handcuffed her, still crying, and brought her down to the police station for proper questioning. I stuck around while another officer came in to collect the evidence. I hadn't gotten close enough or touched anything I had learned quickly from Nick's previous errors. I was stunned all the way to the station, following the detectives back to listen to Jordan's interrogation and swearing at myself for getting so close. My intuition certainly needs a heavy improvement if I'm ever going to pursue more of this kind of work. When I got to the station, I was surprised again to see Jordan sitting so calmly in the interrogation room, hands neatly clasped in front of her on the table. She was smiling, softly, almost like she was daring anyone to accuse her of murder again. Her lawyer, looking stressed and exhausted already, was wiping beads of sweat from his forehead with a stained handkerchief.
Let's try this again, Miss Baker, shall we?
Pleased to be back, detectives.
How about the truth this time?
I simply don't know what you mean.
Can you explain to us why we found a coat with a missing button that matches an eyewitness statement and other evidence from a double homicide in your apartment?
Don't answer that.
I'm sure I can't say.
Did you kill George Wilson and Jay Gatsby, Miss Baker?
Don't answer that either.
I'm offended at the implication.
You'd let Daisy Buchanan hang for a crime you committed?
Daisy has nothing to live for. What's a hanging to her when she's thrown her life away already?
Jordan.
It's not damning to call a girl out.
What, in your opinion, makes Mrs. Buchanan so low in your esteem?
Look what she had and she threw away.
Jordan!
No, I can't take it. A girl is lucky enough in her life to have someone to simply obsess over her, and she can't man up enough to take what she wants when it's dangling in front of her face? That's her own damn fault.
This man in question, Miss Baker, are you referring to Jay Gatsby?
No, I'm referring to George Wilson. Don't be stupid. Of course I mean Jay. He was an empire, a mansion of a man, but he couldn't see what she was, what she'd always be.
And what was that?
A fool. A beautiful little fool.
Miss Baker, did you love Mr. Gatsby?
Jordan, I'm advising you not to say anything else in this conversation, in case you might say something that
I loved him and I shot him.
That might admit guilt.
Miss Baker, are you confessing to the murders of Jay Gatsby and George Wilson?
It's a wonder they made you a detective, yes. I shot Jay where it hurt the most, where I could watch the life drain out of him into his swimming pool, drop by drop, until he was lifeless and empty and cold as he had made me. 5 years of pining. 5 years.
You were acquainted with Mr. Gatsby before the summer of 1922.
It was all about Daisy. When we were coming up, always about Daisy. She was the star of Louisville, and whatever she wanted, she got. I was 16 when Jay Gatsby came to a soldier's ball, and my life was over. I looked into his eyes and asked him to dance, and the world was brighter. We danced all night, and when I went home, I was staying with the Fays that summer. I went home and I told Daisy that I was in love with the most handsome man in the world, that I was going to marry him, and that she had to come meet him at the dance the next night. Well, she did. And right from out of my hands, she took him. She lured him in with her money and her laugh and her experience. He didn't look my way again the entire rest of that night or that week while he was in Daisy's arms. I shouldn't have brought her. I could have been happy. We could have been happy. And that was bad enough, but at least it was short-lived. He wasn't rich enough for her parents to approve of their marriage, so when he went overseas, she moved on. Imagine having a love like that, a man like that, and just forgetting about him so soon after. When she got engaged to Tom, I had never been happier. Of course, I told her I would be a part of it all, a bridesmaid, celebrating the perfect marriage. But the night before, well, she had gotten letters from Jay and was clutching them, drunk and crying, saying that she had made a terrible mistake and didn't want to marry Tom after all. For the second time, she was taking him away from me. The first time literally, and now she was taking away the hope of him from me too. I had spent 2 years waiting to hear from him. Had sent 1,000 letters with no response, and she hadn't mentioned him a single time. But here she was clinging to old letters that I never knew she even got.
Did you tell her then, again, how you felt?
I shouldn't have had to. She knew. I think she was so interested in him in the beginning just because he was someone I was excited about. I would have waited for him. But she only wanted what she couldn't have. It was a challenge for her, and she just needed to win. It wasn't about love. It never has been for her.
But you convinced her to marry Tom.
It didn't take much. Just had to sober her up and remind her how poor she would be if she married Jay. I used her biggest fear against her.
Her biggest fear was being poor.
Her biggest fear was not having more than everyone around her. If she married Jay, she wouldn't be the richest, have the biggest wedding, the biggest house, the most horses. She just wanted more and bigger and better.
So, she married Tom, and then what? You never reconnected with Mr. Gatsby.
I couldn't find him. After the war, I thought he had died. I mourned him for 6 years. I cried when I remembered the way the light hit his eyes, the feel of his arm around me while we danced, the sound of his laugh that cut through an entire ballroom of people. I loved him alive and I loved him dead. And then that summer, I got an invite to a party on West Egg, and of course I wanted to go. I was never one to pass up a party. When I got there, I heard the name Gatsby whispered on people's lips as they bustled around. No one had met him, but they all spoke about him like he was this supernatural creature, Gatsby. And to me, he was a ghost coming back into my life. I had never been so happy as I was at that moment. I wandered around the entire mansion, room to room to room, table to table, asking if anyone had seen the host. And then finally, I saw him standing at the edge of the lawn, at the top of the dock, staring out across the bay. I walked up to him, and I didn't think my heart could break any more than it had in the moments of torment since Daisy stole him away from me, but I was wrong again. It shattered into 1,000 pieces as he looked at me, searched my face, and then spoke to me like he had no idea who I was. He casually said, "It's nice to meet you. I hope you're enjoying your time here tonight." And then he walked away back towards the house. Walked straight away from me without even giving me the chance to remind him.
That must have been very painful for you.
You have no idea. I was inconsolable at first, sobbed all the way back to East Egg. It was even worse when he asked me to help throw him back together with Daisy. And, well, you know how that played out, don't you?
Yeah, we're quite familiar with the events of that summer, yes. Could you jump to the days of September 4th and 5th, please?
She was, yet again, living this dream that I had held on to for so long. Running away and sneaking off with Jay when she already had a life of her own in front of her. A perfectly winning life like she had always wanted. When we were in the hotel, the moment it was clear she wasn't going to leave Tom after all, I thought, here she is again, throwing this absolute icon of a man away. I knew then that I couldn't live any more with either of them throwing this in my face over and over again. If he left, what would it be? Another 10 years before he waltzed back into our lives and reminded me again that I would never be good enough because I wasn't her?
So you made the plan to kill him?
I got the gun. Daisy's dad taught me how to shoot when I was little. I didn't know if I was actually going to be able to use it when I got there, if seeing his face would send me back into a spiral and I wouldn't be able to pull the trigger. But then I got there and I saw her. When I left their house in the morning, Daisy and Tom were on their way to the city, looking happy as they ever had, even through the stress I could see around their mouths. And then she was there in his driveway, running back to him again like I knew she always would. But she didn't go back. She got back in her car and drove away, content to ruin everyone's life. So, I parked the car at Nick's and I walked through the bushes back towards Jay's. It was then that George Wilson showed up and everything fell so perfectly into place. I knew that it wouldn't be questioned if someone showed up and shot Jay Gatsby, the notorious millionaire, possible criminal, definite mystery. But when George showed up, the husband of the woman Jay's car ran over the night before, it would be so obvious. So neat and clean and tied up in a perfect little bow. I knew the police would never even question it. So I shot Jay. I wish I could say he was surprised, but he didn't even give me that satisfaction. He seemed to expect it, to know he was about to die, and it might as well be a stranger, someone he had just met a couple months prior at a party at his house.
You didn't tell him through all that time?
I wasn't about to beg.
No, you just killed him instead.
Yes. And then I put the gun in Wilson's hand and made him pull the trigger. Son of a bitch tore my favorite coat.
How unfortunate for your coat.
It was. I'll have to thank Tom for setting that up, though. George coming down was a stroke of brilliance.
I do wonder, was George planning to kill Mr. Gatsby when he was there? We had assumed, naturally, that was his intention, but was it?
No, that man was an absolute lost cause. He had a gun, yes. Of course, I took it and left mine in his place. His was a .22 instead of a 9mm, so I couldn't very well have different bullets tipping you off that things weren't lining up just right. A shame about that gun, too. It was quite nice.
You've experienced so much loss in this double homicide. How have you lived with it?
And no, I don't think he ever would have pulled the trigger on his own. He was shaking like a leaf, just standing there seeing Gatsby dead and floating in the pool. He couldn't have done it himself.
Why drop Daisy's lighter if you wanted everything to appear clean?
Oh, yes. The stupid lighter. To be quite honest with you, that was an accident. It would have been a perfect plan if I had thought of it, but I didn't. I stole that from her earlier in the summer. She has so many things that I didn't think she'd miss it. And she didn't. I wish I could have seen her face when you showed it to her and she so stupidly admitted it was hers. A perfect plan that just kept getting more perfect every second.
And yet, here you are.
Here I am.
Why the cigarette?
I wanted to watch him die. William told me never to pull the trigger if you don't plan on watching the creature take its last breath. And I really, really wanted to watch Jay Gatsby take that last breath.
It's almost captivating how cold you are about this.
What's done is done, and I do it again. 1,000 times over. Every night as I lay in bed, I pull the trigger again and again and again. I'm not sorry.
In the end, they all did face consequences for the pain they all contributed to that summer. Tom and Daisy were both convicted of attempted murder and vehicular manslaughter, respectively, though of course neither of them served any real time on account of being grossly rich. Their pictures were plastered all over the papers, though, and all of the city knew what they had done. Since the case had been so high profile when it happened, and then, again, as Tom made sure, was back in the papers on the front page, and since they were so well known in New York City and through the South and Midwest too, their names were bound to be ruined to anyone who cared at all about human decency. Jury's out on how many people that actually is. Jordan was sentenced and went to jail, even if not for as long as maybe she should have. But her golf career was certainly over. As soon as she dropped the act that she had been putting up for everyone, she didn't for a single second show any remorse. She knew what she had done and was going to carry it with pride. Through the trial, she flatly admitted her crime to the jury, pled guilty, and moved through the process barely blinking. Before we left town, Nick and I took one final trip to Gatsby's mansion. So, are you going to change it?
Change what?
Your book. Turns out there's a lot more to the ending than you wrote.
You know, when I wrote it, it's like I was willing that to be the truth. I think it's why I sent it in for publishing before I came to talk to you. I thought it would feel final, real.
I'm glad you came to me.
Me too. And no.
No?
No, I'm not going to change the ending. It was the only truth I knew at the time, and you can't repeat the past.
No, you can't. But you can write it. And you did.
You did.
We did.
Sure, we did.
Hey, Nick.
Yeah?
Happy birthday. There was no green light across the bay that night. No pulsing symbol of hope to wick away the wind off the waves. But in that moment, closure felt like it could be enough. I never met Gatsby, but I had learned to love him through New York's eyes, Nick's heart, and the endless forgiving potential of the future. You can make the same mistake, love the same wrong person, fight and fail and try, over and over every day, a boat against the current. You can try your best to be great. And if you can't hit that, maybe it's enough to be good. All That Glitters is written, produced, and edited by me, Steph Crugnola, inspired by The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. This episode features Jack Baziuk as William Fay and Jordan's lawyer, Andrew Solis as Albert McKisco, Sibonelo Shezi as Detective Barban, Mike Crugnola as Detective Amory, Lindsay Palinsky as Jordan, and Pablo Munoz-Evers as Nick. Music by Josh Kavanaugh.